Welcome, folks, to the first episode of FACECAMS here at the Accidental Sportswashing Podcast. And yes, I'm going to be wearing these glasses all episodes. Glasses stay on during sex, and they stay on during the Accidental Sportswashing Podcast.
Yo, you crazy for that? What the fuck?
What? They're hard as fuck.
Hey, yeah, like, okay.
They're hard.
I'm not
Hard, but yeah,
I fuck with them.
Yeah, but I'm Ryan back with his messy ass bed he just covered up 5 seconds before.
Yep.
And I'm still in the hallway.
Oh,
There's a door right in front of me, right there.
beautiful. The moment someone walks in on you, I'm gonna fucking laugh my ass off. But yeah, let's just hop into it. Joe Brr, more like Joe Poo, nigga. Like, Jesus Christ, man, that's my nigga. That's my wigger, but damn, that was not good. That was not good at all.
He didn't play the best. I don't think he was like awful or anything. Just
I mean, that's not what you expect out of a top two.
Yeah, obviously.
You know.
I think it's very apparent that the Bengals need to figure out what the fuck is going on with their offensive line. I know they had injuries, but we've reached a point where this is the second time in a huge game in Joe Burrow's career where the Bengals allow an insane amount of pressure.
Yeah.
And it's not going to, not that I don't think they can win a Super Bowl or anything like that, but it's going to consistently get them beat by teams like the Chiefs who have, great pass rush. Or even if they got to the Super Bowl, the Eagles would have fucking ate that offensive line a lot. Like it wouldn't have, it would have been bad. It would have looked like the Bucks Chiefs Super Bowl. It would have looked like that.
What? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, that one was a nightmare.
It
would have looked like that.
There were the bunch of questionable calls. I'm not gonna say the Chiefs won the game because of the refs, but the refs were just on. It's like they were out there rolling dice every fucking time they.
I think
call.
The refs were just equal. I don't know about equally, but they're pretty bad on both sides.
Oh, yeah, both sides. They fucked both
I think
sides
the first thing that comes to mind is that whole 7-down thing, 7-down possession.
Yeah, that was.
Why? Why are you redoing all these plays and all this shit that's going on?
But
I guess that's the one that's the most apparent. And then there's also there are also questionable holding calls, questionable calls that weren't called for holding. I don't know, it's just generally a poorly officiated game. That's all I can really say.
You can't have that in the AFC Championship game. You really can't have that in the playoffs, but it was a real shit show. But moving on to the NFC, man. Damn, man. Fuck, the Eagles are in the fucking Super Bowl, man.
This was the worst case scenario for the 49ers.
By far. I'm still, honestly, I don't care. I still don't see Jalen Hurts as a top 5 quarterback. I still don't see
him. I don't see him either. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback. He's borderline top 10, but
I'd have him safely 7 or 8.
I think for what he brings, though, he's confidently top 10.
Yeah, but what were you saying, man?
I was going to say, the way I view Jalen Hurts is he's in that bridge between those elite guys where yep, you throw this guy on your team and you're going to be, right in the Super Bowl contention, whatever it may be. And then those good, but definitely not ceiling raiser quarterbacks.
He's a Dak. He's a Dak.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, he had, Dak didn't have the best showing in that 49ers game, but I think it's clear that Dak Prescott isn't the biggest reason the Cowboys aren't making the playoffs. They've had Tony Romo have those same issues. I don't think it's just every Dallas quarterback walks in and they're placed with a curse. I think it's just a franchise, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, but fuck on the 49ers side, and I hate to see people discredit their defense because when you have an offense that's out there for so goddamn long, for so short time, and the defense is out there, of course they're gonna give up points.
Yeah.
So. They just got to spin back next year with Trey Lance. Do the right thing. Play Trey Lance, please. Hopefully Purdy is okay, but it just sucks.
John surgery is really bad.
No, I don't.
I'm pretty sure
it's
Tommy John.
No, I'm pretty sure they said it wasn't Tommy John. They avoided it.
If it wasn't, no, if it was, then
if it was,
make a very strong case that Purdy's career is fucked.
That would be such a shame.
But if it isn't, then he has a good chance to still continue doing this thing.
Real quick. Purdy injury.
What did they announce it as?
I don't. So it was I think it was a UCL sprain.
Okay, that's way better than Tommy
John. No. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, no, he's fucked. Yeah, it's it's UCL tear. So yeah, it's Tommy John. He's gonna be back in August. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say his career is fucked, but it really sucks.
I mean, that kills his arm talents, and he already isn't necessarily the guy with the best arm. So it's definitely concerning in that aspect. So he's gonna have to. I think
at this point you definitely have to roll it, Lance, regardless.
It's a necessity at this point. Yeah. I mean, maybe try slowly putting Purdy back into the game later in the season, but that's once again assuming if Lance does ass, and I highly doubt he does ass with a system that great.
I mean, like I said, I wrote about it. He might start slow, he might have his struggles, but there's no reason to assume Trey Lance can't do well if Garoppolo and Purdy can do well. But yeah, this Super Bowl, man, shit. I mean, the Chiefs didn't look the strongest, but it's Patrick Mahomes, you know? That Eagles defense hasn't faced a Patrick Mahomes. But on the other hand, the Chiefs defense hasn't really faced I mean, I guess I'd put the Eagles offense above the Bengals offense, but still I don't think it's too big of a gap. So if they can just maintain pressure and contain Hurts and find a way to at least contain one of Brown or Devonta, I think they'll be able to let Mahomes cook, and I think that's how they have to win, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's probably a fair assessment.
Yeah, but the big thing I'm worried about with the Chiefs here is they did against the Bengals that worked very well was they were able to get pressure, right? The secondary, if Joe Burrow had time to get a throw off, he would more often than not, the secondary wasn't going to be able to make a big play. They had a couple of picks, but I feel like that second pick was more of an arm punt, if anything. And at the end of the day, like Jalen Hurts isn't going to be in a situation where he's going to be forced to throw them out of a Super Bowl or into victory if that's not the Eagles' game plan. It's not saying that like Jalen Hurts
just have like an offensive lineman arrested for like rape or something like that. Was he a starter?
I think it was some backup. It was
a practice squad guy.
Oh, he didn't even play any snaps in the playoffs or regular season. So
fuck that guy. That's irrelevant. Throw him under the jail. Continue on.
Yeah.
But yeah, my point more so is like, I really like the Chiefs for this game, but I'm worried about how they're going to be able to, as you mentioned, contain Jalen Hurts in that he's their running game, right? The Eagles, you look at their running game without Jalen Hurts on the field and with Jalen Hurts on the field. Oh, did I freeze? Yeah. My back or no? No way. Are you serious?
No, you're fine. You're fine. Keep going. It's like a half second.
All right. Okay. So what I was saying was like, the Eagles' run game depends a lot on Jalen Hurts. So I think they're going to have a hard time containing him. And sure. Even if he doesn't have a great game, we saw us against the 49ers, the presence of Jalen Hurts creates a lot of anxiety for a defensive line or just a defense in general. I think the 49ers, as you mentioned, they didn't get enough credit for that game. I mean, there was no way they were going to generate a lot of defensive stops when your offense is doing nothing. Exactly. But that's part of what the Eagles do so well. They're just such a well-rounded football team that Patrick Mahomes it's an uphill battle, I think, for Mahomes here.
I mean, yeah, but so what are our official Super Bowl predictions? I am not picking the Eagles. I don't give a fuck if the Eagles win again. But fuck it. Give me the Give me the Chiefs. Wow, I muted myself. The Chiefs 31-28. Yeah, Chiefs 31-28.
And that's a hard one. I think the major deciding factor is going to be the health of the Chiefs receivers because Juju was I think out mid-game and I think Kelsey's not entirely healthy yet.
Yeah, but he's going to play regardless. Yeah.
But assuming Kelsey's healthy, which is pretty likely, and Juju comes back, I think the Chiefs are the favorites here. I think just having Mahomes and their defense holding up really, really well against that Bengals offense, especially just creating so much pressure, I think that will probably give them the edge.
Yeah, I'm going to say that this game is about as close as the Bengals and Chiefs matchup, where it's kind of tough to pick a winner here. And I feel like going into that game, there were very clear scenarios where one thing goes wrong for the Chiefs or nothing goes wrong for the Bengals, and that'll cost them. Yeah, the way I view it is I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be able to get any pressure on Jalen Hurts. I don't think their secondary is going to be able to play well enough to against Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown on top of not getting a lot of pressure to hurry up the throws. Now, I will say, guys, I have not been great at predicting games. I have not been great at betting, though I actually got a net profit. But I'm picking the Eagles here. 30 to I'm gonna reverse Dre's score here. I think I'm gonna go 31-28, but in the Eagles favor. I think this is gonna be a close Super Bowl. It's gonna be a really
I can tell you this right now. If Jalen Hurts gets hurt in the game or you like absolutely break the Eagles' hearts, I will buy whatever player is most commented, I will buy their jersey if the Chiefs win by either hurting Jalen Hurts or just being like assholes, like a huge ass.
No, that's out of pocket. Let's calm down.
Nigga, fuck Philly, Nick. Fuck Philly. No. But moving on, we have some really good head coaching hires. Like, it's been really insane these past couple days. Obviously, the biggest one coming with Sean Payton. What did they give up?
He gave up a first rounder and a second rounder.
I mean, I don't think that's bad. You have a coach that can really rein in Russell Wilson. And worse comes to worse, you have a really good offensive mind for however long you're going to give him. So,
and historically, the Bucks traded like 2 first-round picks for John Gruden, they won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and like to be fair, Sean Payton's a way better coach than John Gruden. So, I don't see this being a bad deal necessarily. I don't really see how much this could backfire, considering that he can actually call plays, and that I mean. Look at what he's done with like someone like Drew Brees, for example, and how he was able to,
especially after surgery, give him a career.
Well, not necessarily like give him a career, but like definitely like, I guess.
Well, he doesn't win without Payton,
Oh yeah.
So I give him a new lease on a career, because coming off the ACL and not being re-signed by the Chargers, shit was really down.
You tell the Chargers how like Philip Rivers and Drew Brees, but like
it's fucking nuts. But I think my favorite signing of the cycle has to be D'Amico Ryans to Houston. Like, as long as they don't fire another fucking black head coach after 1 year, I love this so fucking much, man.
There's no way they would. I feel not only is he just a great defensive guy, but
that would raise so many red flags.
But like. He's a young coach. He has a lot of potential, in a head coaching gig, and Houston's looking more towards, I guess, moving beyond just losing, double-digit games every season. So I don't really see a place where, he doesn't last at minimum 2-3 years.
Yeah, I think.
And once again, I think he's a good coach, or he has potential to be a good coach. So, I mean, I could see him staying there for a while. Or having a pretty solid
they have to
career
give
there.
him time to grow. They have to.
Yeah.
I mean, we see in the NFL, rebuilds aren't something that should take a very long time if done correctly. They're in position to select, one of the top 2 quarterbacks in this draft class in, Stroud or Bryce Young. So, quite frankly, if you get the quarterback pick right, I think this head coaching hire. I like the head coaching hire. I think ultimately all you need is a pretty good draft and to establish some sort of culture and some sort of, winning environment in your locker room, and go out there, and you're in a weak division, go out there and put up 7 or 8 wins and go from there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a hard division.
I don't know about 8 wins this year. I guess
I'm thinking optimistically here, but if that team went out and won 7 games next year and that would be a successful season. Right, you know what I mean? And as you mentioned, you can't have a head coach carousel if you're going to be investing a top 3 pick in a quarterback. That's not going to work. That's just not going to work, right?
Stability at the top.
Like, look at Trevor Lawrence. The second he got a competent head coach, right? A good head coach in Doug Peterson. He went from, a dude. I don't even think incompetent is enough to describe what happened in that first year. But if you get a competent head coaching, a good situation for a quarterback, and once again, you can attract free agents, you can attract talent across the league when you do stuff like that. Houston isn't a team that has been every single year terrible. They've attracted star players before. They've been, a team that's made the postseason before. They've competed in postseason games before. But now it's a matter of, establishing a consistent winning culture and looking toward your long-term future. And I think this coaching hire reflects that.
Yeah. And probably one of my least favorite, probably will be as the cycle ends, signings was Frank Reich to Carolina. I mean, he's not bad, but he's not good.
I mean, he had some questionable moments as the Colts head coach. Not everything was his fault in that last season, but I'm not entirely sure what to think of this.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really move the needle. He's not gonna hold your team back, but he's not gonna push them forward. But I mean, maybe that's what they need this season, because I feel like the NFC South Bucks are gonna be horrible. They're gonna be fucking dog shit. Falcons, they may take a step forward, but they've always been very flip-floppy. So they're probably not going to be the best. And who else? NFC South. Who else am I forgetting?
There's what? So it's Atlanta, it's Carolina, Saints, Bucks.
Saints. So, I mean, that's realistically, if they... I don't... Like, every team in that division is horrible now. So if you find, like, a half-decent quarterback... Like, if you pick up Cleveland.
Brissett?
Yeah, Brissett. If you pick up Brissett, or, a half-decent quarterback here or there, or maybe a Garoppolo, maybe something like that, you have a pretty good chance of winning the division. So I don't mind the hire, but I can't see him sticking around for more than 2 or 3 years before they really decide to just blow it up, But, yeah. I mean, also, I think one of the most offensive coordinators, that was really funny to see them. So now, what's his name is going to be calling plays? Mike McCarthy, after they've let go of Kellen Moore, and I just want to say that's really fucking hilarious. But I am excited to see Kellen Moore with Justin Herbert. But yeah, that's real. The Cowboys are a hilarious organization.
They're just continuously incompetent. Like every year it's hey, they lose in the postseason, and it's, next year they'll work on this. Or they never fucking take steps forward. Last offseason, they made the decision to trade Amari Cooper and extend receivers that were worse than him. This year, they have made the decision to get rid of an offensive coordinator that I'm not even going to sit here and say Kellen Moore is some generational offensive coordinator.
But he's definitely a top 5-7 offensive coordinator in the league.
What I can say confidently, we can rank 5, 7, wherever you want to rank him. He's better than Mike McCarthy at calling plays. That's not a question.
I'd probably be better than calling plays off of Madden than Mike fucking McCarthy.
Right, like what was the game plan here? Your head coaches are so Mike McCarthy has not proven that he's like some really good head coach yet.
The only thing he has is a fucking elite Aaron Rodgers. Like
right, back if we're talking 10 years ago, we can have a different conversation, but the NFL isn't close to the same it was 10 years ago. You get rid of a young offensive mind who had a more modern approach, and you replace that
in the NFL not too long ago.
Right. Like I don't know what the relationship was between him and Dak Prescott, but I don't imagine that they worked poorly together. It's not like Dak, the past year wasn't great for Dak. I understand that. Yeah. But the previous year was excellent for Dak. I don't really understand what is the game plan here? What are they looking to do here? They are trying to do what? They're not going to get better as an organization.
The only way I can see this working out, and the only maybe way this makes sense, is that they have a reason to scapegoat him next season and fire him mid-season. But even then, purposely tanking your team is just so fucking stupid when you still have talent on your roster and you have the money to go out and there's shit you can do to go contend next year, but instead you're going to just fucking punt it away. Even knowingly or not, either way, it's fucking stupid as fuck.
And I don't want to, I don't know, what's the right word? I guess, bootlick Aaron Rodgers or some shit. But there's a good reason why Aaron Rodgers sustains Mike McCarthy near the end of his tenure with Green Bay. There is a strong disconnection between both of them.
Yeah, he did what he wanted them to.
Yeah, and the fact that he was so, I guess, behind the curve when it came to play calling and his philosophy. Especially now that Tony Pollard's future is in question, how Zeke's future is also in question. You can't really run the same system that the Cowboys have been running the last few years, and I'm very interested to see what changes. But his track record isn't really that good. Let's say that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I gotta say, this is the script shit, the shit that Aaron Foster said, hands down,
that's
funniest shit
so
I've
funny.
seen in
the funniest shit ever,
man. Like, it's so fucking stupid, but Jesus fucking Christ. Like, if you have, unless you've been living under a literal rock these like past couple days, like, ain't like the funniest shit has happened, and all these players just like this player reading this kid, like it never fails to fucking hit. Like it's always fucking hilarious. Like someone said, Mike Vick's dog. What was the other one?
Did you see the 201 where the guy's like stab? He's like, "Oh, I can't remember." He's like,
yeah.
trying to remember.
Or the
the
Ryan Shazier one. The Ryan Shazier one.
That was, dude.
Oh my god.
The one with Aaron Hernandez.
Oh my
yeah.
god.
Yes. It's just like oh my god, it's beautiful. And even some players are getting in on it. Like I saw Slayton tweet about it. Yo, this shit is so fucking stupid. Like, what the fuck is like? Why would you? Like,
From what I understand, the clip was he was being apparently like being sarcastic on the podcast about it, and some people like he said it as like a joke, and some people actually like ran with it and think that he was like being honest or like he was only being sarcastic to try to hide the truth or something like that.
I love we hide this. Man. We practice. It's just what was it? It was like the practices are just for scripts. And then I remember the nigga that it was interviewing him. Fuck Barstool, by the way. I don't think I've said that yet on this podcast. Fuck Barstool. But yeah, he was like, "Oh yeah, so what about when your career fall off a cliff in 2015?" I was fucking dying. Like, why would you say that? That's just some dickhead ass shit. But moving on.
There was also, one more.
What was that?
Can you see this?
Mike McCarthy, chill. All right, it's backwards. You just have to
it says Mike McCarthy calling plays next season. It looks like him.
It really does.
Dog?
Jesus Christ, man.
What is that? It's a Denny's menu if you look closely. Jesus. Can you see that?
Yeah. I mean, we're not fat shaming. It's just funny that he is slightly overweight and does kind of act like if Peter Griffin was a fucking NFL head coach. That's all I'm saying.
Who's ready for when the Cowboys like win like 10 games next year or something like that? If they get to that. I mean, I don't even know if they're going to get to that, but if they win 10 games next year, like enter the wild card round against a certain team, get their shit blown out.
Booted. I need to see that.
That's good, bro. It's every fucking year. It's been again. We said this on the last podcast for like 10 years past our like life, like 10 years prior to any of us being born. The Dallas Cowboys have been incompetent in the postseason.
Yeah. But guys, I have a very special announcement to make before we move on from some NFL stuff. Fuck Tom Brady! Rest in peace, nigga! Woo! Finally! Oh.
I was watching the video for his like retirement.
He wants Giselle back. That was a call for help.
Yeah, he just wants
a call for help.
No, just like the way he spoke, it was like, yeah, he's just desperate.
Come on, join in with me, guys. Hey, goodbye. Na. Alright, fuck you guys. Fucking haters.
Bro, wait, you were supposed to like join along?
I said join in. You fucking.
Bro, we couldn't hear you.
Dude, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I'm never singing on a microphone in my life. There's no shot that's ever getting captured on microphone. No shot. There is a clip of me in a musical out there, and I buried that. I've kept that under wraps for so long. Okay, how about this? No, actually, I'll think we should come up with a way that like if something happens, I will post it.
All right,
we'll want to put it on.
All right, if the Yankees don't look, mark this: the Yankees don't make it to the ALCS.
I'll raise you this: if the Yankees don't make the World Series, the Yankees lose to the Astros in the postseason.
Yes, let's go! Let's go!
I want to give it a better than like, because like the Yankees not making it to the ALCS would be like, that'd be like a real disappointment. If they lost the Astros, you can expect that.
Set a reminder want to give it for what should I say for like October 30th?
Yeah.
Set a reminder for October 30th titled Ryan Musical. All right, fuck it. I'll just write it down later. But yeah,
I'll remember. Don't worry. I'm good with that.
But moving on. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, the first major trade of NBA trade deadline season, I guess you could call it. Rui Hachimura for Kendrick Nunn and 3 second rounders. I mean, I would give each side probably like a. I would give the Lakers definitely a B-. I'm giving the Wizards a C+, because they did get a little worse, but like I feel like they haven't had any direction since John Wall like knees became fucking granite. So like it's like that team is so weird. Second rounders are becoming a little more commodified now with younger guys being able to come out the draft, enter in the draft. But still, it's just like the Wizards, man. They like nothing they do has moved me anytime recently.
I think they were intending to rebuild once John Wall got hurt, and once they got rid of him, and gave him to Rock. No, they got rid of him, gave him to the Rockets,
Yeah.
and once Westbrook left, they're like, okay, let's rebuild. But Bradley Beal has been kind of like stagnating that entire rebuilding process because he's really good.
Yeah.
And now that he's no longer what he used to be, and the young talent that they've acquired isn't all that amazing,
yeah.
they're in a weird spot where it's like they're
mediocre.
bad, but they're not bad enough.
Exactly. Like, yeah, it's horrible. Like, it's so nasty. Like, they have like NBA players who like probably be bench warmers on most teams, but since they get so much playing time, they're developing a little bit. And like Porzingis, yeah, he's been good but pretty inconsistent, and he's making a lot of fucking money. Yeah, Beal has been meh. And like that team is just ugh. But I do like the trade for the Lakers a bit. You get another wing who scores. He's been putting up, like, I put it on here. He's been putting up 13.3, about 6 rebounds and about an assist per game with only 1 turnover. And he's been shooting about 52% from the field over the past 4 games. He's been playing about 28 minutes per game, which is a little inflated because they went to overtime the other day. But I do like that trade. I mean, I'm not going to say it makes them contenders, but it definitely allows for some more, like there's still more to be done for sure.
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
You could go.
Nah, go ahead. Don't worry.
I think Rui, for the most part, had some promise with Washington. His offensive game definitely had potential. I think a lot of people coming out of the draft were like, "Oh, he's the next Kawhi" or something like that. Which, I mean, to be fair, every single like young, raw, undeveloped wing is like considered the next Kawhi. But like,
Yeah.
I felt like he had
cute.
legitimate
He's
potential.
also very cute.
Let's calm down. And like I think so far what he's shown with the Wizards and with the little stint he's had with the Lakers, that he's a very legitimate offensive guy. He has some potential as a shooter, though he's been proven to be really streaky. I think the first thing that comes to mind is like his mid-range game looks pretty decent, but his defense is not good from what I've been told and what I've seen. So I'm not sure how exactly it's going to fit into the puzzle long term unless the Lakers get more defensive pieces around LeBron and AD, especially LeBron, because he's getting worse defensively, he's getting older, and he's probably just going to preserve his body more for offense. So I think he has a place in this team, assuming the Lakers decide to become more competent next season. Yeah. It just depends on who they acquire and how he fits with those additional players that they're going to add.
Yeah, the way I view this trade is that, as you mentioned earlier, Dre, with the Wizards just not really having much of a direction over the last few years, it feels like if you think about it, there was a time where you could have traded Bradley Beal and gotten multiple first-round picks at minimum, and that would have, I mean, they would have been in a great spot right now.
You would be stuck with fucking Daniel Gafford and Monte Morris.
Right, and now you're paying, nearly $50 million for Bradley Beal this year, right? Is it something like that?
You're paying Porzingis $30-something million.
Right, and I thought that trade was good for them because he's a better player than Dinwiddie, right? I don't like Porzingis, but like end of the day, I will say at least they got that, but it's like, sure, like it's just like it doesn't feel like they have much going on for them. And as for the Lakers, Josh, I think you bring up a really good point with defense, right? The Lakers defensively, they have to figure out what's their identity defensively. LeBron's not going to be running down the court at full speed to block someone in the middle of February in like a 10-point game, right? Like that's just not going to happen, right? Like there's no reason to do it. And so, I don't think this trade does like much for either team, but it's not like a bad trade by any means. It's just like not a massively meaningful one.
It doesn't, like I said before, it doesn't move the needles. But moving on to like buyers and sellers. So starting off, you have the Raptors, man. They have, I think their strength of schedule is pretty hard for them. I forgot exactly what it was. But then you have, I think, at least maybe both, FEV and OG have to go. At least one of them. Because you only, I think Fred only has 1 year left after this year. OG has 2, but there's no way you could keep both. And then I say you just start.
OG seems to be like very insistent on wanting to leave as well. Yeah, exactly. So he might leave this trade deadline.
So, you have to ship at least one off. I wouldn't mind shipping both off and just kind of getting a little, not rebuilding, but what's the word? Like,
retooling?
Yeah, retooling in a sense.
Yeah.
Because you have Siakam, no, I can't say that. Scotty Barnes, the fucking loser. And you have some young pieces that can probably contribute in the future. And I think FEV and OG kind of hold them up. So you trade them off. You kind of punt the season, get a decent draft well, and Nick Nurse is going to develop players well. So I think you just got to, cut your ties.
I think the Raptors are in a weird spot. I could trust, Ujiri and Nurse developing young guys. They've been doing this for the last 3 years, basically. But a lot of the players that they have right now, especially the ones that they consider, their most important, aren't playing that well. Siakam is still doing this thing. He's actually having one of maybe the best seasons of his career so far. But Fred VanVleet is doing awful. He can't shoot for shit. And I guess if he can't really shoot that well, he doesn't bring a lot offensively because he's not really like an elite playmaker. His defense is good, but for a guy that takes a lot of shots, he's not going to help the team. And OG's shown some growth as a shot creator, but once again, he's been super insistent on wanting to leave, so he might not even stay before the deadline. So I think just what it comes down to is developing Scotty Barnes, just keeping on with Siakam, but also just hoping you got a really good pick this year, considering this is one of the best classes.
I feel like Barnes is like the one actual tall, lanky wing that could. I don't think on the scoring side he'll ever be Kawhi, but definitely on the defensive side he can be a fucking monster. So
he has some moments where it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like his IQ and like decision making in a lot of cases is just very questionable, but he has a lot of potential. He has shown a lot of like, I guess, awareness from time in half court with the occasional dud.
Yeah.
But I think he has a lot of potential. I think he will be really good.
Ryan, I'm gonna let you kick this one off. Our beloved Knicks. I have an interesting thesis on what we should do, but I'm gonna let you take the floor.
Yeah, so there are a couple of things that the Knicks could do here, right? Obviously OG has been linked to the Knicks for a decent amount of time now, and the Knicks seem pretty interested. And just to clarify, that report that the Knicks are going to deal 3 first-round picks, those are going to be either heavily protected first-round picks or like some sort of swap situation. It isn't like the Knicks. I know some people are saying, oh, why didn't they just offer that for Donovan Mitchell? Because the value of said first-round picks aren't the same, and if you read the article, you would have known that. But for those who aren't aware, that's kind of the situation the Knicks are in right now. Or what they could do is, go out, maybe get smaller bench pieces. I heard, there was that Cam Reddish, Grayson Allen thing, which on paper sounds like a fine trade, but Grayson Allen is Grayson Allen. I fucking hate the guy. Like, there's like a certain hate level where I just no. And then there's the third interesting case where the Knicks maybe look at guys who are playing very well right now. The big issue here, or not issue, it's kind of been a good, like Randall's been really good this year. There's no doubt about it. For sure. But if there's a team that really wants Julius Randle and is willing to give you draft compensation for it and or young talent alongside that, how willing should the Knicks be to trade Randall? And like that's it's not me saying that Randle's a problem with the Knicks. The Knicks can't win with Julius Randle. Julius Randle's bad for New York. This has nothing to do with Julius Randle being bad or like not liking him. I love Julius Randle, but is that maybe the better option here? Especially considering is OG going to make you a championship contender?
Yeah.
Not really.
I mean, the way I look at it, I think they should play kind of both sides of it. I definitely think they because what are they? They're 7th right now. I think they're like a game or two behind the Heat for the to get out of the play-in. But they do have the 3rd strongest strength of schedule moving on from this point. So I mean, I think you do have to buy a little bit. So I'm not mad at investing in OG. But I think this might not come to a head now, but by the offseason it definitely will. You have to move one of Randle or Obi. And I wouldn't mind packaging Obi and Cam for a decent bench piece, and like a second rounder. Or if you want to, like you said, moving Randle, that could be something very interesting. But I think the fact that he's playing so well, it's like it always thinks good. It's always makes sense in a way. But I don't think Nick Sprass would be like, okay, he's finally playing well. Let's let us look good for instead of just trading him, which might be the best option. But
yeah, it's a tough sell, not just to the fan base too, but to your locker room. Imagine you're Jalen Brunson, you're RJ Barrett. You walk back to your locker room, they're like, yeah, by the way, we just traded Julius Randle. Like, what the fuck? Like, we're trying to compete here. Like, that's a hard sell to the locker room. So that's the Knicks are going to be interesting this deadline, or they could end up just doing nothing. I wouldn't be mad if they did nothing. By the way,
I think they have to do something. You have to do something.
I guess nothing in the sense of like nothing big. I wouldn't be mad if it was just moving a couple of pieces and adding to your rotation depth. Fucking fire alarm. Are you serious?
No way.
Change in scenery. I think you're lying to yourself. Nothing happened. I'm wearing the same fucking clothes. Nothing changed. I don't look 10 times darker. I don't look like Michael Blackson. But getting right back into it, the Trailblazers, man, like I think they have to sell because their strength of schedule is pretty high. Yeah, they have the 11th highest strength of schedule moving forward. And you're not really going anywhere. Dame's gonna stay regardless. So, but you definitely can get value for guys like Jay Hart, who else? Grant, and definitely Nurkic. Like those are guys who've been in Portland long term, but they're not gonna help you win now. And it's better, just cut your losses. Even though they're great locker room guys, you have to look towards the future. You have guys like Anthony and Keon and other pieces that can really develop. So punt the year away. Dame is still going to win you a couple games, but just get a good draft pick and hope to, keep building towards the future.
They're in a weird spot. I feel like the entire situation with the Blazers is, what do you think of Anthony and if he could develop into something really, really special? Yeah. And last season, we thought he was going to be really big, like he would be like the next CJ McCollum replacement. But at the same time, being like the next CJ McCollum or being the guy that fills in the shoes for CJ McCollum isn't really enough to push the Blazers anywhere.
The Blazers, they had CJ McCollum before, so clearly that's not enough.
And the weird thing about the roster is that a lot of the promising guys like Shane Sharp or Sir Little, a lot of those guys are very young, while guys like Nurkic, Dame, and
very old and vets,
Well, they're legitimate vets in their 30s. There's this huge gap in I guess the how do you describe it? The table, the timeline, the timeline. Yeah, so their timeline's all fucked up. They're just in a bad spot, I'd say. I think they would have to sell, but if you want to win with Dame, then the only real option is to sell the young pieces, which, let's be honest, this isn't a good idea.
Yeah, that'd be fucking stupid.
Yeah, they're at the point, like, this is like hell. This is like purgatory or hell for any NBA team. This is actually worse than purgatory. This is hell for an NBA team. You're not bad. You're, like, good enough that you can maybe make the play-in. You have a good enough number one. Like, Damian Lillard is legitimately a superstar player still. He's still excellent, right?
For almost a decade.
Right. You know, like, there's no, like, oh, well, Damian Lillard isn't as good anymore. That's why they haven't been playing as well. It's like you have a legitimate number one option and you're not good enough to contend. And as you guys said, you know, especially I feel like the NBA trade deadline more than any other deadline outside of the NFL, really, where nothing really goes on. You can't really go out and get that, like, go from a playoff to play-in team to a championship team. Those trades generally don't exist.
Exactly.
So what are the Trailblazers going to do? Right, like, I'm sorry, is Dame Lillard gonna, like, carry this team? Not saying because he isn't that good, but because this roster really isn't that good. Is he gonna go out there and, you know, go to the finals and, like, beat us like a Celtics team? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that shit smells. Like, you know, I gotta get my fucking Febreze out here. Say that shit.
You're a dickhead.
Fucking look at it, like, dude, it's a bad fucking roster.
For you, man. Watch out.
I'm gonna fucking. I'm not safe in Portland anymore.
You are not.
My ops are there.
You gotta check in. You gotta check in with your ops. But moving on, the Heat, man. The Heat are very like another team where it's just like they have aging stars in Lowry and Butler who've clearly taken a step back. Butler not as much. Lowry's not a starter anymore. He's not a NBA
He's not good.
Starter.
He's not even good anymore.
You do have a couple, you know, pieces in Vincent, Hero, Strus, and you do have Bam locked up for a while. So, I mean, it's a weird situation. Cause
I think as of now, they're fine.
Yeah, I think you have to buy, but you can't give up too much to where you're selling off those pieces and mortgaging off your future when those future pieces are going to have to come very soon. Like, probably in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I can at least say this year, like over the last like month, they're trending in the right direction. But again, like if I'm looking at it from the perspective of, you know, I'm matching up with Boston or Milwaukee or the 76ers. And I know we've said we have evidence of them going into the postseason as a lower seed and knocking out one of those top seeds. But I feel like that was a different team, as you mentioned, a younger team, a little bit more of a better team in general. Right. So I don't really view them as a team that like they'll match up the Celtics and they'll beat the Celtics in the first round. Like I don't really see that. But it's not they're not to the point where it's like a maybe situation. Like you can maybe, if things go right with a good deadline, kind of that type of thing. They're close enough. Right. They're close enough that like a good deadline could potentially put you in that spot. You get a couple guys to get hot.
Like let's say they get another bench piece, they get OG. Then you could say, hey, maybe they can go out and beat everybody but the Bucks and Celtics.
And the West,
they got OG, that would be huge.
Yeah, and the West is weak. You know, I think the way I'm looking at it is like if you win the Eastern Conference Finals, not that you automatically win the NBA Finals, but you put yourself in it's like if you won the West before. What it felt like to win the West 10 years ago is what it feels like to win the East right now, which is weird to say because it's been a very long time.
I was thinking about earlier before we started recording. It's a beautiful shift in the NBA, man. Fuck the West. Fuck the West. But you got any thoughts, Josh?
I think the Heat are fine. That's what I'm going to say. They're fine. Bam Adebayo is really good. I think he's developed a lot. He's fixed a lot of his weaknesses. He used to be a pussy. He'd be like a literal DHO merchant. He'd always hand the ball off to a shooter whenever he has the ball. His aggression to the basket is super inconsistent, but now he's fixed that for the most part. And I think as a result, he's gotten a lot better.
I think it's part of him.
I think his ceiling is much higher.
Yeah, I think it's a part of him just stepping up and understanding he has to be the main guy now.
And I think with that in consideration, you should just go all in. You should
especially
try
the
to
fact that you have locked them up on a decent contract.
Yeah, you have to get some really good role players, and there's some really good role players in the market right now.
Yeah.
You know, OG Anunoby is available, and you know he's very, very open to leaving the Raptors. Not to mention, but like the issue is Duncan Robinson's contract.
Yeah,
that's what's fucking him up.
That shit stank, don't it? I need you to pull out the
in the moment it made some sense because you know he was like. He was an elite shooter. You know, he was shooting high 40s from 3-point range on good volume, but he couldn't play defense. And now he can really shoot the three as well as he used to.
I mean,
and his defense is still ass.
That's my man. Fuck the Heat. Fuck the Heat for stealing Pat Riley. Fuck that nigga. You know, Duncan Robinson, my favorite Heat player of all time.
He's so bad.
Yeah.
Like I can't.
Yeah, but then moving on, this is probably my favorite one to talk about, the Thunder, man. So, yes, they're not in contention, but I feel like if the right piece comes up, you have to just jump on it because the amount of draft capital they have, and then the fact that they're on the hinges of a playoff spot, play-in spot, and then you also have I fucked up. I always fuck his name, but you know, he's really blossomed into a superstar. So there's no reason not to, because you have all this draft capital, and yes, you hit in the past. Like Jalen Williams is playing great, and you have a lot of hits in the recent years. But I'm always going to take a bona fide NBA starter or even role player over a possible first-round pick. So you always just have to make sure, you know, you're looking out for these deals because, you know, the Thunder, I feel like they're going to be really good in like the next 2 years. They're going to be really damn good.
Yeah. I don't know why you call it's Shy, right? It's Shy Gilgit.
I think it's Shy. I think because he had that Instagram story where he put Shay, but then he put Shy as well. I have no idea, dude.
I don't know. I get scared because they got bullied in the space last night. I forgot which way I said it. So I'm like, bro.
I think he's like a bona fide all-NBA level player right now. He's so
for sure.
And I was gassing this guy up last season.
Oh, I
so
know.
I'm an OG. I gassed this guy up since he got drafted. So I'm an OG. I think he's really good. He's phenomenal driving to the basket. He's just an amazing scorer. He knows how to get to the line. I think he's getting better as a passer. Defense is getting better. A lot of things are just getting better. So you should just build around him for the most part with how he's playing. And they have a bunch of picks. They have a bunch of really solid young guys.
Man.
And Chet hasn't even played. That's gonna help. That's gonna help them defensively a lot.
Yeah.
So I think for what they are, they're just fine. They just need to not fuck up their draft picks.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, as you guys mentioned, you know, they've been hovering close to 500, and doing so again without your top pick from the most recent draft. So, end of the day, I would like to see them kind of make that not throw everything in for
like
one player type,
you know, like
right, like
you know,
get like, you know, a player who's like good and you don't have to invest too much draft capital. They're like, obviously that's like. Right. You know, like, do something that you don't have to. Again, they're not a team that if they stand pat, it's bad because, you know, you're just looking for what makes the most sense. You don't want to go all in for a player who isn't that number 2 caliber option. But as you mentioned with Chet, like, there's a real chance Chet goes out and he comes and he's, you know, one of the best big men in the NBA. Right. That's a complete possibility here. And if that happens, I mean, good God, right? This team's going to be really good, and they're going to become a destination where if you're a trade target, if you're a free agent, whatever it may be, you're thinking, hey, how do I get myself situated in a team with a team like OKC that could potentially win a chip? But that's thinking next year and kind of beyond.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and then I think probably the funniest one, second funniest, the Timberwolves, man. They kind of have to buy, but they can't really, which is the funniest part because they're negative $55 million in cap space.
I thought this team was going to be good.
Yeah. Like, I mean, they're still above the play-in spot, but then you have the Pelicans who are going to get healthy. The team behind them, it's Pelicans, Warriors, and Suns. They're all going to get healthy, and they're all going to surpass Timberwolves. And that's a major disappointment in a weaker Western Conference. Like, you're not taking advantage. You just signed Gobert to this huge deal, and I mean, you can't really move any of the pieces you have besides maybe Cat, but are you really going to move Cat? It's just, like, you kind of have to buy, but they literally can't. So.
I don't know. Cat has been just super disappointing for the most part this season. I know a lot of people that watch the Timberwolves, and a lot of them have displayed their frustration for Cat and how, you know, he's not super aggressive or he's not really doing well defensively or anything. So a lot of the issues that we've had with Cat for a while are still showing up. Ants is still really good though. If he wasn't in such a stacked conference for guards, he probably would have been an all-star. Like, he's legitimately that good. Gobert is a weird one. I mean, he's still good on defense, but it's like his offense is still an issue, you know.
And plus, when you have defenders, when you have Walker Kessler just coming in and replacing him, how much it really shows you that is it?
Yeah, Walker Kessler's been insane for the Jazz defensively.
Does he really hold that much value? You know.
he's still a great defender. I don't think anyone should deny that.
Oh no, he's still a great defender. But when you have guys who can do the same thing or nearly the same thing for a lot cheaper, why did you just mute your mic? But
it's a fire alarm.
Oh yes, 2-in-1 episode. What a fucking miracle! Wow. This is just amazing.
You see that?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna go out.
Just amazing transition after our second fire drill of the episode. Don't we love to see it? I look even darker now somehow. But on to our final team, the Bulls, man. Like Ryan said, the Trailblazers are in hell, which means the Bulls are in like the 9th ring of Dante's Inferno. Cause holy fuck, like your stars are decent. DeRozan, Levine, good, but Lonzo is in fucking Narnia right now with some fucking getting jacked off by a fucking mystical lion. Like, holy shit, man. Like, this team, like, your young guys fucking, like, Scotty, like, I think when people make fun of Scotty Barnes, they don't actually look at it. I feel like that's what Patrick Wills is. He's ass. Like, he's not good. He's not good. Ayo's somehow having a good game tonight. Not good. Like, that team has no future, no fucking money, and just a bunch of just stupid shit. It's always fucking hilarious to look back at them and all the fans are making fun of the Knicks for not signing DeRozan and shit and all this shit, and they're praising AK on their fucking knees. And it's like, where did that get you? You're like 1 seed above us.
You should have brought extra just for him to rant.
Oh, shit.
The Bulls are just like, I'm sorry. It was obvious that, I feel like it was very obvious that this team was pushing a lot of assets into not being a finals contender. Like, and I'm not even saying that it's impossible to build a very good NBA team, around players who aren't necessarily top 10 players. But how much they're paying Zach LaVine? An insane amount of money. And is Zach LaVine a number 1 option on a championship team?
Fuck no.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, or trading assets for for Vucevic. I can't pronounce his name. Vucevic, right?
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I got it.
Whatever.
But I know this year he's not playing awful, but I know last year wasn't very good. This year
Wendell's
not great.
pretty much matching his production, so it's
right. And you traded a bunch of first-round picks for that to happen. Obviously, they're not, and you could say, well, at the time they weren't expected to be very good picks, but now this pick is going to be a lottery pick. This year's pick is a lottery pick. You know what I mean? As you mentioned with Patrick Williams, that is a premium pick. And if you can't even say like, oh well, like the Obi Toppin situation was Julius Randle just emerged out of nowhere, and the Knicks couldn't find starting minutes for Obi Toppin.
Yeah.
This is Patrick Williams. No one emerged for him to not be able to be a starter or anything like that. He just hasn't played well.
Either A, they know he's ass, or B, they're just being losers. I think it's more A, he's ass, but
I don't think he's very good. The future isn't great there. The present isn't great there. How much are you gonna get back in a Zach LaVine trade? How much would you get in a Vucevic
LaVine
trade?
I have so for the next after this, Vucevic is unrestricted free agent. You're paying Lonzo after this year. Including this year and 2 years forward, you're paying him $20 million. And LaVine is getting what? He's getting about $44.5 million a year, which is about 30% of the league cap.
So bad.
Like
it should DeMar like he should have.
You're cutting it out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say I should move.
Yo, it's
yeah, no.
Just
we get what you're saying. Just chill for a second. But yeah, that roster is just, it's bad. Like, there's no other way around it. And I would feel bad for Bulls fans if they weren't such dickheads. Like,
they're just in a bad situation right now. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. So what are you saying, Ryan?
I was gonna say they should consider moving DeRozan. Like,
Oh yeah, I mean, I
that should
feel
be-
like there should be a fire sale, but they have. That's the problem with a lot of front offices. They have too much pride, and it's with the Knicks front office, when Randall should have been moved a while ago, there's too much pride involved, you know, and they're just gonna bank on it, on that players bouncing back when it's not gonna happen, and then they're gonna blame it and say, hey, I had pressure from the owner, or I didn't want to disappoint the fans, instead of, you know, just nutting the fuck up, saying, hey, I made a mistake, and, you know, doing the best you can to grow from that mistake, you know. But
I also feel like the Bulls, probably the way their general manager is viewing it is, you know, I can keep my job if they bounce back and they make the play-in or make the playoffs. You know, we can say we're a playoff team. You know, if he blows it all up, he could get fired. Like, you know, that's you're admitting you fucked up. Like, that's you know, the owner's gonna want to clean house too. So that's you basically saying, all right, I give up. Like, just fire me at this point.
Yeah.
No, I get it. It's job security, but it's bad practice.
yeah,
I think they should definitely just blow it up, but I don't think they will, mainly because I mean the Bulls are the 11th seed right now. They are not even a game behind the 10th seed, and they're like
that's
3 games behind the 7th seed. So I know, I mean, you know, they're not in a good spot. I think everyone objectively, you know, without any bias whatsoever, could agree with that. But I think to owners and general managers, seeing that they're only 3 games behind, like a legitimate postseason spot, they're probably going to do the opposite of blowing it up, and they could
keep
go all
fucking
in.
themselves over. Because it's not like if they were in the Heat position, like I would say last year, them and the Heat were in a similar position where they were both probably first, maybe even second round exits. But if you add a piece or two, like OG or someone else, you're moving. You can maybe make a conference finals run, maybe a finals run if shit works out. But where the Heat have kind of maybe taken like a half step back, the Bulls have taken like a fucking leap the fuck back, like back to that fucking door back there. Like, and it's just
it's really bad.
Yeah.
And I think every general manager is seeing the Boston Celtics last season go from like a well below 500 team to a finals contender.
I think they can do that, but
like,
you don't have
overnight.
Jason Tatum. Like the pieces they have on that roster and the coach and the organization, it's not gonna. They're like there's an actual.
It's
culture
like it's like the Josh Allen year 3 thing where like a lot of teams are like, yo, our quarterback is like not doing great, but year 3, you know, Josh Allen did that, so maybe our quarterback could do the same. But it's like, but like this is like, but like the thing that people forget is that like what the Celtics did is like such an absurd outlier to the norm,
and it's only because
like,
they had such young and good and immense stars and Jason Tatum.
And like even then, the Celtics, when they weren't doing good last season, their SRS was really good. Like they were, like their net rating was really good for a team that was well below 500. While if you look at the Bulls this season, if we could check, their SRS is 17th in the league. So they're just not a good team. They're straight up not good. They're like a mediocre ass team. They're technically below average in a way. So
and with that, I'd like to say thank you while Ryan glitches the fuck in and out. I'd like to say thank you for joining us on this probably the most chaotic episode of Accidental Sports Washing yet. And we thrive in chaos. We love chaos. You know, that's what we do. But yeah.
How do we have 2 fire alarms in like one episode?
Because God fucking hates us. God is. If I enter a church, I will burst into flames. So it's my fault, guys. Don't worry. But yeah, I love you guys. If you stuck around to the end with all our bullshit and all this antics and all this editing, I'm totally looking forward to, and my dark ass. Yeah, love you guys. It's been a great episode. Later.